Done. Now we'll pick the topic called as revenue recognition. So within the revenue recognition, we have two options. Whether we want to postpone the billing or else, and we are creating schedules to postpone the billing, or we are going to creating the schedules to recognize the revenue later. Based on that, you can create the revenue recognition. We take example, the case one. Say you have a contract with the customer and you are going to bill to the customer maybe for 4 months or 6 months. So you are going to bill in the future. As of now, you can create the schedules to identify your revenue, and what you can do is, in that case, so you can create the schedule. So 4 months contract, from each month how much revenue you are going to get, that you can define, but you are not going to do billing later. You will be doing the billing later point of time. For that, so you maintain the accounting like, or else before that, say when you create the transaction accounting entries, receivables debit, revenue credit. It means receivables debit, we are billing to the customer and we are recognizing the revenue. If you have a contract for 4 months, and if you want to distribute that revenue within the 4 months, how much revenue you are going to get, so in which month, how much, for how much amount you are going to generate the bill, for that you can create the distribution. 4 months, what you can do is you can create unbilled receivables. Unbilled receivables debit with the fourth, say 10,000. Revenue account is credit with the 10,000. You can create the schedules like this. If you are going to get 4 months, 4 months will create the schedules like this. 4 months contract, 4 months you create the schedule. Unbilled receivables, okay, receivables, unbilled receivables debit, and revenue account is credit. So what is the meaning of it? So from 4 months we are going to get revenue as a 10,000, but billing we are not doing as of now. You will be doing the billing later. Say you take the schedules like current month only. This is for Feb, this is for March, April, May. So whenever we are eligible to send the bill to the customer, we'll run the revenue recognition. What system will do is, for the Feb, Feb, March, April, May. So when you run the revenue recognition for Feb, what system will do is, it will create accounting like, in the Feb only it will update the accounting. Receivables debit 10,000. Unbilled receivables credit 10,000. So these are just schedules. These are the schedules for 4 months we created based on the contract with the customer. And when you run the recognition for the February month, since we are going to do the billing, we have to update in our system. So instead of unbilled, it should move to receivables account. So whenever you run the revenue recognition system will hit to receivables account is debit. The system will hit to receivables account is debit and unbilled receivables account is credit. Here unbilled debited for February and unbilled is credited. The finally for Feb, the accounting entry is receivables debit, revenue credit. That is a final entry for the transaction for Feb. In the same way, when you arrive the March month also will run the recognition, revenue recognition. What system will do? The same accounting entry it will create for March. It will create for March. The same way it will create accounting for remaining 2 months also. So it will create April, May. So in this 4 months, okay, in 4 months when you run the revenue recognition, system will debit receivables and it will credit revenue, unbilled receivables. So that's how all unbilled receivables will knocked off. Final entry would remain for 4 months, receivables debit, for 4 months, revenues credit. So that's how we are parking. Okay, we are parking the balances in unbilled receivables till you bill to the customer. Later we'll be moving into receivables account. This is the one case. If you are going to bill later point of time, so this is what we have to follow. So sometimes you may do the billing and you may want to recognize the revenue later point of time. It may be your company internal policy. In that case, what we do is we can go with the other approach. So here what we are doing 4 months contract and each month how much revenue you are going to get we are identifying, but we are not billing now itself. So we are just taking amounts into unbilled receivables. Whenever you want to bill, you are recognizing, you are reversing the unbilled receivables and you are hitting to receivables account since you are billing to the customer. You are getting eligibility to bill to the customer accordingly. If you are going to deal with the concept called as you are billing now, but you don't want to recognize revenue now. Okay, or else whatever it may be the case, so you might have received some advance from the customer, or else the case is, yes, you have eligibility, but your internal policy says you have to recognize the revenue every 4 months or after completing the contract service, whatever it may be. In those scenarios, you will be billing to the customer, but you will be maintaining the balances in the unearned revenue account. In that case, okay, we'll create receivables account debit, receivables account debit with the 10,000 and unearned revenue. Instead of taking into balances into revenue, we take into unearned revenue. Revenue credit with the 10,000. That means receivables debit means we have eligibility to bill to the customer, but we want to park those revenues into unearned revenue account. Later you may just realize, or else now you can make the schedules. Every month you may reverse unearned revenue based on the eligibility. Once you provide the service, you may treat that is eligible till the time you don't want to treat that as a revenue for you, but you want to treat as a unearned. Say Feb, March, show it. So these are the just creating the schedules. Creating the schedules. This is for April. This is for May. So this is how we'll create. We have a 4 months contract with the customer. Yes, every month we are going to send the bill and we are eligible to get the revenue, but you may have a like a policy. So how often you want to recognize the revenue, or else you are doing the schedules, 4 month schedules. Once you complete that service for the specific month, then you want to recognize your revenue. So this is how we'll create the schedules. If you have a 4 months contract, then you completed some service to the customer for Feb. Then what we will do is for February month, we'll be recognizing the revenue. We'll run the revenue recognition. What system will do is, so it will take account as a unearned revenue, debit with 10,000. Revenue account will credit. Okay, revenue account credited to 10,000. We credit the revenue account. The same will do for, so here receivables revenue, that is the final entry for Feb, and unearned revenue credited, here debited, knocked off. So ultimately we are realizing the revenue. So whenever you want, these are the schedules. Okay, the beforehand we may do all these schedules. So I think all these schedules you created in the Jan month, because you are going to provide the services to the customer from Feb to May for 4 months contract. For February month, you completed service, you provided service, contracting service or whatever it may be, and you got eligibility, that you can treat as your revenue. Till the time you are parking the balances in the unearned revenue account. So once you complete the services, you can reverse unearned revenue and you can move the balances into a revenue account. This is how for every month you can create the schedules. And again, this is very simple concept. If you have a different business requirement that cannot be achieved, so what we are discussing, that is possible. If you have a kind of contracts with the customers, etc., you can deal with the respective models. So you are doing the some projects to the customer with this based on some contract, you are constructing building or you are providing other services. This all detail level you can track and you can account as per the project billing application. But within the receivables, they given the limited functionality. Okay, with that limited functionality, this is how you can play around with the accounting, where you can park the balances in the unbilled receivables. Later you can move to receivables account, or else you can park the balances into unearned revenue. Later you can move the balances into revenue account. Okay, so this is the concept we have to understand when we talk about revenue recognition. Okay, to implement this, what setups are required, we'll see. Okay. So we have to make sure auto accounting setup is available for unbilled receivables and unearned revenue account. Okay, so for these two accounts, we have to set up auto accounting rules. Say set up auto accounting rules. Okay, set up auto accounting rules, and based on the contract, we have to create the schedule. Okay, for how many periods we are going to get the revenue, or else from which period how much revenue, how much percentage of revenue we are going to get from the contract, that we have to define as a revenue scheduling rule. Say create revenue scheduling rules. So these are the setups. Once we're done with the setups, we'll create the transaction with the contract value. Create
Lakshman, is a
with
quick question. The invoicing and accounting rule is removed in Fusion?
we'll see that only we discuss now. What we discuss.
No. Because in EBS, we define the invoicing and accounting rules separately.
Invoicing and
Accounting rules. the invoice in arrears, invoice in
No, that only we discussed. This concept is that only. We'll see that is there. Say this is these two will play around with that only in arrears and like in advance.
okay.
Same as it is, no difference. Okay, no difference, no changes here. When you create the transaction with the contract value, there you will select that rule. Okay, fine. So create transaction with the contract value, and then you can run revenue recognition. So when you run this, when you create the transaction, you can choose whether you want to do the schedules by following this accounting or this accounting. You can choose. Okay. So the invoice level will be selecting the rule how system should generate the accounting. Accordingly, it will generate. We'll see that. First, set up auto accounting rule for these two accounts, unbilled receivables and unearned revenue, so that any case you will be able to handle.
Sir,
Hence,
we are setting up unbilled revenue and unearned revenue. So, I mean, basic difference is that it's unbilled revenue, we don't have the permission to bill, and there we don't have the permission to record the revenue, right?
both we are parking in the temporary account till we get eligibility, realization of revenue, and till you do the billing.
So, what we see entries, 4 entries in the first case, are they happening in February only? Like we see this receivables to
I
unbilled
written very
receivable.
clearly here. See what I written.
No. I'm asking about the next entry, like receivables to unbilled receivable. If we are doing it in February only, then I mean net effect is
We
that
do
only,
the
right?
schedule, like you are scheduled for February. Okay.
Yeah.
These are the future schedules, like you may be in the John, okay, you are going to
Mm-hmm.
do the contract for 4 months. February, how much you are going to get the revenue, how much billing you have to do, okay. This is all you created now. You arrived in February. In the February, you are going to do the billing. When you do
Okay.
the billing,
Okay.
what would be the accounting entry? Receivable should be debit, right?
Right.
That you
Okay.
are debiting.
First 4 entries are we are doing before that period, and next 4 entries we are
First, we
doing
will
as
create
and
as
when it
per
comes.
this contract transaction, or at a time we'll create.
Okay.
Okay,
Understood.
because 4 months contract, right? 4 months contract at a
Mm-hmm.
time create. So these in the subsequent periods will be reversing and will be hitting to right account.
Okay. So these below 4 will happen as and when that month comes.
Exactly. So
Okay.
whenever you create the contract, this 4 will happen because contract for 4 months.
Okay. Understood.
Yeah, the same is applicable here also.
Okay.
We'll see when you see it would be more clear. Still, if you are not able to connect the dots based on this, fine. So create auto accounting rules for receivables and unbilled receivables and unearned revenue account. Search for auto accounting rules. Manage auto accounting rules. So select our business unit. So already we created rules for receivables and revenue. Now we are going to create for two more account types. So click on add, select our BU, Alt INC, and select unbilled receivable. Set constant or source based. Unbilled receivables create another. Select unearned revenue. Unearned revenue account is not there, no issues. You can pick any random for testing. Treat that as unearned. Done. Save and close. Now create revenue scheduling rules. Here we are going to specify the contract is going to be for how much period. Say 4 months contract. We are going to have a 4 months contract with the customer. So here is the task. Manage revenue scheduling rules. Okay. So in as per EBS, okay, we call as revenue distributions. Okay, revenue distribution rule. So here the revenue rules, what we are calling there we call as like what we call as accounting rules. Accounting rules you call the name they changed in the fusion to revenue scheduling rules. Okay, just click on manage revenue scheduling rules and click on create. Select reference data set as a common. Say Alt INC 4 months contract. And type you select as it's a fixed schedule for 4 months. Here you have to input the value, how many months. Automatically it will distribute. Okay. So here you don't need to specify when you are going to start the contract. 4 months. From each month, we are going to get 25% of revenue from the contract value. So this revenue schedule rule will use in the transaction when you create with the contract value. So accordingly, those amounts will be distributed with these percentages for the 4 periods. So any period could be starting period. You may start with like a period like Feb or March. If it is March, from March it will count these 4 periods. If you start from Feb, it will count 4 periods from the Feb. So this is how just create and click on done. Save and close. Now create transaction with a contract value, contract amount by including this revenue scheduling rules in this transaction. Let's see how to create. So go to transaction work area.
Lakshmi, there is a deferred revenue checkbox in the scheduling. What is about it?
If you want to postpone that schedules, you can enable it. You created 4 schedules, right?
Okay.
If you want to postpone those schedules, you can enable it, and the system, even if you are scheduling, you are not going to realize accordingly.
Okay. Got it.
You created like this Feb, March, and April. If you enable that, in the April you don't want to do billing. Okay, you can defer it.
Okay. Got it.
So, go
So
to
this
task list.
deferred is it equal to that unearned revenue?
No. That whatever the schedules you have, that you can defer, you can postpone. Not only not, it could be billing also. Yeah. Click on create transaction. Alt INC invoice. Alt INC customer 1. Now, so before you enter line information, you have to select invoicing rule. What is your plan? You want to park the balances in the unbilled receivables, later you want to reverse and you want to hit to receivables account, and as of now you want to recognize the revenue, or you want to create accounting distribution for 4 periods, receivables debit, unearned revenue credit. Later you want to reverse unearned revenue and you want to hit to revenue account. So what is the plan? This or this. If you select invoicing rule as in arrears, this is how system will create your revenue distribution. This is how it will create the subsequent periods. Whenever you run the revenue recognition, it will reverse unbilled receivables and it will debit receivables account. If you select in advance, so this would be the distribution accounting, and in the subsequent periods, this is how system will reverse unearned revenue and it will hit the balances to revenue account. So what is the requirement? Accordingly you can select. For now we'll go with the in advance and go to line. So line level, go to revenue, you just enter the details here, the quantity and contract value, say for 1 lakh. The contract value for 1 lakh. Now go to revenue scheduling tab. Select rule whatever we created. We created as a Alt INC 4 months contract. Select. Okay, 4 months contract, fixed schedule, revenue period is monthly, and when it should start date. Okay, maybe you can select from the next month also. Keep from this month, so that this month you can see how to recognize the revenue. Okay, could be anything like first case or second case, you'll be able to recognize. So from when you want to start recognizing as per the schedule, that you can give as a start date. If you give next month as a start date, this month just you cannot do anything. Schedules will be generated from next month. Okay, so that's how system will generate. Now here, so based on this, system is selecting number of periods also from this month, 4 months. Here, go to line information. Here you can enter the description. Just for our understanding purpose, 4 months service contract with this customer. Done. Only the difference is header level, transaction header level, we are providing the invoicing rule. So somebody mentioned accounting rule as per EBS. So this is only we call as accounting rule as per EBS. Accounting rules we create in EBS to do the revenue scheduling. So this is the accounting rule, this is the invoicing rule as per EBS. As per Fusion, the accounting rule, what purpose we use? For revenue scheduling purpose. That is the reason the name they changed it from accounting rule to revenue scheduling rule. Accounting rule purpose is to schedule the revenue, to create these schedules. That is the reason name they changed. Invoicing rule, to differentiate which accounting required, they just kept as it is. Fine. Now, just complete this transaction. Just I clicked on save. So complete this transaction.
Actually, in advance means we get the billing from customer in advance, right?
Sorry?
The in advance means we will get the billing from customers.
We never get billing, right?
Okay.
See, we are planning 6 months contract we are going to do, but 6 months now you want to recognize your revenue. You want to do the billing eligibility, you want to record, but you don't want to show in your books you are eligible for revenue.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
You want to show whenever that will occur, the service whenever you provide, then only you want to recognize your revenue. Till the time you don't want to recognize the revenue. Anyway, ideally you should not do that. you didn't provide service, or else maybe like customer committed to pay some advance amount. For that, the service like you can take into unearned revenue account also. So once you provide the service, then only that is revenue for us. Till that time, it is unearned. Ideally, this is a service related contracts and all, you can use this.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Now just complete this transaction. Say complete and do close or review. Transaction number is 3001. Now we'll go and submit revenue recognition. Go to ESS job page, tools, scheduled processes. The job name is recognize revenue. Okay, this is the program we have to submit. Okay. What it will do, it will generate revenue distribution records for invoice and credit memo that use invoicing under revenue scheduling rules. So we have one of the transaction within that we have invoicing rule we given as a in advance, or we may give in arrears, and within that we included revenue scheduling rule. Okay, we have this scheduling revenue scheduling rule. Yes, both we have revenue scheduling rule we have, and we have invoicing rule in the header level. So in which invoice system will identify those two, accordingly it will do the distribution. Let's see. Say okay and submit. Okay, triggered many child jobs. Check the master program, whatever we submitted. Recognize revenue status is succeeded. Now go back to the same transaction. Transaction number is 3001. Open this transaction. Now go to actions. Go to review distributions. How it distributed, you can see. Okay. So as per invoicing rule called as in advance, and as per revenue scheduling rule, okay, it will distribute. We'll see. Go to revenue distributions. So yes. Here, what are the information you see? We export into spreadsheet. We will discuss. Click on export to Excel. Open. So how we distributed, you can see. Okay. Total receivables is 1 lakh. 4 months it created, see here, receivables, debit, receivables 1 lakh, unearned revenue 1 lakh. Okay, here it taken for 4 months, it taken like it is just as a sum, it is showing the receivables 1 lakh and unearned revenue 1 lakh. Now the same amount it will get adjusted. So we submitted revenue recognition for Feb, and the Feb month we submitted. Now see, under this unearned revenue 1 lakh, below we have for March, April and May. What about Feb? Feb it is moved to above. If you run the revenue recognition, okay, if you run the revenue recognition for the month, okay, for the month March, okay, what system will do is, system will move this line to above. This is the March related line. This line it will move here. And it will remove from here. Again, if you run revenue recognition for April month, April line, it will move above. That means it is just knocking off. So it will go here. Here it won't be anything. Again, if you run the revenue recognition for May month, this line will go from here to here. Already we have seen current month line is above to that 1 lakh. Now what will happen is, within the 4 months, in first month, Feb, 25,000 will get knocked off with the unearned revenue account, unearned revenue, positive and negative. From 1 lakh, 25,000 will be knocked off. March month 25, April, May. Within the 4 months, whenever you run the revenue recognition, if you run the revenue recognition for 4 months, in the 4 months, this unearned revenue, positive, negatives will get knocked off. This would be the final entry. So receivables, total receivables, anyway you want to recognize your receivables. So in all the periods you want to recognize the revenue receivables. So 4 months. So since as per our contract value 1 lakh, the 1 lakh is debited, and temporarily we are parking the revenue into unearned revenue account. So once you run the revenue recognition, the unearned revenue account will get knocked off. System will recognize the revenue with respective period. It's for Feb, it's for March, and
In your
April
use case,
and May month. Yep.
in your use case, can you flip to your use case, please? The accounting entries what is shown in the, not here, the worksheet what we created.
Yep.
This one, these receivables every month it will not get created. Only unearned revenue and unearned revenue will take place on the subsequent month revenue recognition. Receivables will never be touched, correct?
Yes, yes. Okay, but that is for receivables. It will take total receivables. This is this much, and
That's
revenue.
because we are using in advance. It bills it upfront on the first time itself.
Yes, because we are recognizing the receivables. Yes, we are recognizing the receivables to give you the understanding like unearned revenue and all. So instead of keeping the single account, I mentioned receivables.
Okay.
Yeah. Same, you can see here. First period only, total it is taking, and revenue will be distributed across as unearned revenue initially, later it will turn into revenue account from unearned. So this is what you have to understand. Okay, this is what you have to understand in case of revenue recognition. It's a limited functionality. Okay, this is what the best you can do in the receivables. If you have any requirement beyond that, when you're dealing with the customer contracts and all, you have to go with the separate, like if it is a project related project contracts applications we have to use. By using the application called as project billing, you will be able to generate the bills and you can just manage the accounting accordingly.
What is the, I mean, I didn't understand one thing, like what is the benefit of doing this? Ultimately, the same thing is happening in the same month, right? So,
What same thing is happening in the same month? See, we are parking those balances in the different months, right? We are just see here.
mhm.
So are you taking revenue directly?
No, but in the same month we are doing this revenue to unearned revenue to revenue,
But
right?
you are
So
making the plan now itself, right? Since it's a contract, you are planning now
Mhm.
itself. In which month, how much revenue you are going to get, that you are distributing. You are making a plan and you are keeping into unearned revenue account. Every month you are not going to do the activity of creating the invoice, etc. One time you are preparing the schedule. Every month simply will go
Mhm.
run the revenue recognition. System will reverse unearned revenue and it will take into revenue account. Okay, just
So let's say if we are standing on 14th of February, so it first four entries will happen today only, and first five entries will happen today, and these last three entries will happen
no.
on
Yeah, five entries means which five entries you are referring?
first five, Feb, March, April, May, and then Feb.
Yeah. Since you are running this February month, you have eligibility from February month. It happened. Yes.
Okay, so first four will are the schedules which will happen like once we run this recognized revenue,
Hmm.
and this will happen with create accounting, right? Is it correct? This February month entry.
Create accounting also will call this revenue recognition. You no need to run this separately. Okay. So you have this schedule.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. You go and run
Mm.
the create accounting program. Create accounting program will call revenue recognition. If any transaction is available with your invoicing rules and your revenue scheduling rules, it will do this update.
Okay, so like if we run the create accounting now, so the entry would be unearned revenue to revenue.
Yeah, same. This only it will update. Now already we submitted, again it no need to do that. That's all.
Okay,
See,
so right now,
simple. One second. Point is very simple. You have this schedule.
yeah.
Accordingly, you have to identify, right? For February month, any revenue need to be recognized. If you run the
Mm.
revenue recognition program, it will go and check any transactions are there in any transaction as per schedule. If anything is there for February, it will see and it will reverse unearned revenue by debiting, which is credited here, and it will
Mhm.
hit to credit revenue as a credit, right? Now you
Right.
are not running the revenue recognition. You are doing the create accounting program. You are running the create accounting program.
Mhm.
The create accounting program also will call the child job called as revenue recognition. So already you
Okay, so,
submitted. Already you submitted. It is not going to do anything.
okay.
Okay.
So when we run recognized revenue, it does this accounting as well. I mean,
Yeah.
Feb.
See, when you do the create accounting, it will take these amounts into debits and credits.
Right.
Now, if you see this sheet, do you have something
Mhm.
debit and credit? Nothing. See, it is distribution only.
Okay.
Which account, how much amount? There is no debit and credit. That real debit and credits you can see when you run the create accounting on.
Right now, if we just view the accounting for this, I mean, we'll see this one, right? For Fab, unearned revenue to revenue.
When you submit revenue recognition, it will create the distributions. When you create the accounting,
Mhm.
as per the schedules, as per the distribution, it will create accounting entry.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Now see, do one thing. Go
Lakshman,
back to
Lakshman,
no.
sorry to interrupt. I can give you a suggestion, Lakshman. Please show that accounting entries on that transaction. That's enough for her.
Okay, yeah, we'll do that. See here. So here, do you have any debit and credits?
No.
No. Now run the create accounting, it will create. As per the schedules, it will create the accounting entries as per the distribution. The accounting could not be completed, so from accounting window. you see here,
Hmm.
right? Now you have a debit and credits, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Earlier you have only
Just schedules.
distribution.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That's
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
So another point here, another topic. Balance forward billing.
Lakshman,
Yeah.
in vice versa case, in arrears, if you select a rule type as arrears, there will be a receivable, unearned receivables, right? But when we apply a receipt, receivable fully credited, right?
When you apply,
Receipt against a transaction.
no, first you have to realize that, right? After realizing only, you'll be applying. First,
Okay.
you will set, you will make sure that accounting will get corrected. The balances which are parked in these temporary accounts will move to the right accounts. After that only, you'll get amount from
Apply
customer
receipt.
and you apply.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Lakshman, I suggest can we create one invoice in arrears instead of
You
invoice in
try
arrears?
that. You try that. It's not a big game, right?
No, for me, I am fine. I would just
Yeah.
in the
For
interest
you
of
only
others.
you try to create. Okay. Others okay. Yeah. Fine.
Lakshman, in the deferred revenue checkbox is there, right? So how it will defer that revenue?
Okay.
In
Deferred
this
means
case,
when
yeah.
enable, these are the schedules we did with the 4 months, right?
Yes.
That you will be able to postpone it. It will allow you like to postpone those schedule. Any one of the month you didn't provide some service. Okay.
Okay.
Any one of the month you didn't provide the service, that you can defer it. Okay. You can defer, like you can go to that line level and you can specify which month you want to defer it. You can specify. For that it won't update anything. Later you can just remove that deferred value and it will generate. Just you can see, this is all like we are parking in the temporary accounts. Along with that, what we are saying, sometimes it may happen as per the schedule. That is the meaning of deferring.
Okay, Lakshman. Thank you. Yeah.
The other topic here is balance forward billing. So balance forward billing is nothing but consolidated billing. Take example of credit card. So when we use the credit card, you may swipe card today, you don't get bill for the transaction what you did today. You may just use the card tomorrow, you don't get the bill. There will be cutoff date. There will be cutoff date. Till the cutoff date, whatever the transactions you did by using the credit card, all the transactions they'll consolidate, they will send the statement. The bank will send the statement. In the same way, in receivables, if you want to send single bill for multiple transactions at a time, we can use balance forward billing concept. So you have a customer, you created multiple transactions. You don't want to bill all the one by one transaction. You don't want to send. You want to club those transactions and you want to send a single bill. That bill we call as balance forward billing, or in other words, you can call as consolidated billing. But as per application, the terminology we use consolidated billing only. So the same concept in EBS 11i we used to call as a consolidated billing. Later on EBS R12 they changed to balance forward billing, and in the Fusion also the same name we are using, balance forward billing. In other words, you can make a note as a consolidated billing. Fine. If you want to create any consolidated bill, so what setups are required in the system to support this functionality? What setups are required? Let's see. First, we have to create the billing cycle. Okay, you have to create the billing cycle. Means how often you want to bill to the customer. How often you want to bill to the customer, that you have to specify with the billing cycle. Say create balance forward billing cycle. So take example, credit card. So use the card for on the first, second, third, fourth, fifth. But all will be consolidated. Cutoff date may be 15th, and they may give the date as 15 days or 20 days. That means payment term is 15 days payment term for all the transactions. What transaction we did on the first, or what the transaction we did on 10th, the transaction what we did on 15th or 14th, all will be consolidated. For all the transactions, due date would be 1. So that's how there will be payment term. So based on which date use the card, there won't be any payment term. So all the transactions, they'll consolidate, they'll generate the bill, the date when they're generating the bill, from the date onwards, the payment term is applicable for all the transactions. Same means bill level payment term would be there. The same way here, which payment term you want to use in this case in balance forward billing concept, that we have to define. So that you can call as balance forward billing payment term. Instead of writing as balance forward billing, I'll write it as BFB, balance forward billing payment term. Create balance forward billing payment terms. And we can go and enable balance forward billing at customer profile class level, or else let's create new profile class. Okay, we'll create, or you can update, you can enable the same for existing profile class also. So create balance forward billing customer profile class. This profile class you can assign to existing customer, or to test this concept, you may create new customer also. Okay, assign this balance forward billing enabled customer profile class to any customer, or else you create new customer. Create customer. Since we are going to use that customer to test this balance forward billing, let's call it as balance forward billing customer. Okay, so these are the setups we have to perform to implement this balance forward billing. After completing these setups, we'll go and create the few transactions. So let's create 2-3 transactions. Maybe we'll create 2 transactions or 3 transactions, and we'll generate balance forward bill, single bill for those 2 or 3 transactions. Okay. Generate balance forward bill. So first we'll complete the setups, then we'll see the process how system can generate single bill for multiple transactions. Fine. So balance for billing cycle. Now go to setup part. Search for billing cycle. Click on plus icon. Just name it as Alt INC. Monthly once you want to do billing, or weekly or daily, you can select. You can just input the name, and start date, you can take today's date. And frequency, here you have to set. Daily means daily how many days once, every 5 days once. Okay, or how it is required, you can set. Say we want to generate monthly. Monthly also how many months once, every 1 month. Monthly, every 1 month. Every 1 month, and which date you want to generate the bill, that you have to set here. Okay, you can say set last day of the month, and all the options are available, or else day 1, you can specify day 2 in a month. So let's generate the bill today. So set bill generation date is 14, and click on that. Okay, monthly, every month on 14th we want to generate the bill. That's a billing cycle. So save and close. Now create one payment term. Here is the task. Manage receivables payment terms. Click on plus icon. Reference data set is common. So we are creating for balance for billing purpose. Let's name it as Alt INC BFB net 15. For entire bill, 15 days, we are giving the time. BFB net 15. And this payment term we are going to use for which billing cycle? That billing cycle we have to include here. If you include that billing cycle here, then only you can call this payment term as a balance for billing. Okay, cycle should be there, then it can be useful for billing purpose, consolidated billing purpose. Okay, discount based on the invoice amount, include tax and freight. We given 15 days. Okay, the same you set here as a 15 days. If any discount, if you want to apply, you can set the discount terms also. Save and close. Only the difference is we are including billing cycle within the payment term. That is the reason we are calling that is balance forward billing payment term. Since balance forward billing cycle is included, we are calling with the same name. Since we are going to use for that purpose. So this cannot be, this payment term we cannot use for normal process. Only balance for billing concept only we can use this. So create customer profile class. You may create, or else for existing customer profile class, you can go and enable balance for billing related checkbox and you can set the relevant information. Okay, anything is fine. Let's create so that you can update for existing also if required. So search for balance forward, search for customer profile classes. Okay, manage receivables customer profile classes. Manage receivables customer profile classes. Click on plus icon. Alt INC BFB profile. Select collector. And here we have a balance forward billing. Enable it. Enable or disable balance for billing will remove the payment terms from this profile. If any other profile, other payment term is available, it will remove because we have to select billing cycle included payment term only. For existing profile class, if you go and enable this payment term, it will remove. You have to select balance for billing payment term. So you want to generate the bill for any customer at what level? Account level or site level? Site level. Under one site, account level, under the account level, you can have multiple sites also. Select account level. And billing type, it should be detail or summary. So detail billing, we want to generate. And select here the balance for billing. All the payment terms, what you see, those are balance for billing cycle included payment terms only. You don't see normal payment terms here. Since we enable this, you can select only balance for billing payment terms. Select Alt INC BFB net 15 and just provide statement. Okay, that's you can keep or else we can select whatever. Now say save and close. So balance for billing is enabled. Payment term with a billing cycle are required. Yeah, that's what we selected. So it is not able to recognize. What you can do is you select again. Save and close. That. So we created customer profile class. And now create customer or else assign this profile class to existing customer. You can change the profile class or create new one. Let's create separate customer for this. Alt INC BFB customer. The reference data set is enterprise. So pick any one of the postal code. Set this address purpose. Bill to ship. For this ship to which is a bill. Select. Save and close. When we create the customer, system automatically takes default that we are going to override with our profile class. Click on customer account. Go to profile history. So here we have profile as default. So click on correct record. Alt BFB profile. It's defaulted. These checkboxes under values defaulted. Save and close. Copy the same to site also. Click on site number, profile history. Click on create site profile. Copy, save and close. Done. So we completed required setups. Okay, we completed required setups. Now we'll create few transactions with the same customer and we'll see how the bill can be generated. Okay, the bill can be generated. If you compare with EBS, only the difference is in EBS in the system options. We'll go and enable one checkbox called as one more setup, show billing number. We have to enable, then only that balance for billing number will be generated for every transaction. In Fusion, we no need to do that because they automated. So it will generate the number for all the transactions, the billing number along with the transaction number. Okay, fine. I will go and create the two transactions. Okay, select transaction source and select customer. So we are creating the transaction with the BFB customer. Okay, the payment term is this. This payment term will be applicable based on the billing cycle what you generate. Say goods 1,000. Say complete and create another. Click on complete and create another. Create one or two more transactions. 4001 is the transaction number. Complete and close. We created two transactions. Okay, we created two transactions. Now we'll go and generate the balance forward bill with the same customer. Go to ESS job page. Search for balance forward. So create balance forward bills. generate balance for bills. Initially, you may run draft mode, later you can run the final mode. So, okay. So generate bill. Say print final balance for bill. Before that, you may run the draft also. Well, let's run final and print output. Yes, yes, for this business unit we are running. And what is the billing cycle? Alt INC monthly billing cycle. Okay, the billing date, if you want to specify, you can specify. Otherwise, the billing date would be inside of this billing cycle only. And select currency. Currency related transactions you want to select. And say the same billing cycle is already assigned to multiple customers through profile class. So if you want to run this bill for only specific customer, you can filter. Now, as of now, this billing cycle is assigned to only one customer. You don't need to filter. Okay, still if you want to filter, you can. So this billing cycle is assigned to only one. That is the reason it's displaying only that customer. So specify the parameters and submit. It will generate the single bill. So meantime, just go to transaction workbench. Here is the report. Print balance, detailed balance for bills. Select, scroll little down, click on republish to see the report. PDF format. Open the same. Now generated bill. This is the bill number 9006. These are the two transactions whatever we create. 4001, 4002. So 10,000, 20,000. Okay, 10,000 under 20,000. Now, if you go to this transaction 4001, this bill number will be presented. So the transaction is part of which bill system will tag. Open. Click on show more. If you click on show more, here it will display the number. Click on show more. Billing number is this transaction is part of this consolidated bill 9006. Okay, 9006. This is the bill number. Even if you check 4002, for this also the same bill number will be updated. This is how you can create the single bill for multiple transaction and you can send it. So otherwise, for each bill, here you can generate the each transaction. Here you can generate the bill. You can view the image. So separate bill also you can send since it is tagged into this one bill you can send. This is separate bill. For transaction wise, you can generate the bill and you can send. Since we implemented console billing, this transaction also tagged into that bill. So that's all about balance forward billing, or you can call it consolidated billing.
Lakshman,
Yeah.
here we are, when creating a transaction, we are selecting the payment terms, right?
Payment terms you are selecting, yes.
Yeah. Instead of setting profile class and terms, can we do directly here, like customer profile class and create a customer? If you select the payment terms, will it override?
No, see, it should be billing cycle included payment term. Other payment terms it won't accept. Since customer level balance for billing is enabled, it won't allow. Okay.
No.
If you want to select another, you select, but that also should be, there should be billing cycle inside of it. Then only it will allow. Normal payment terms you cannot select.
No, my concern is you have told 4 steps, right? Create balance, forward
Okay,
billing
one
cycle,
second, one
and
second.
payment term.
We'll go there, we'll go there. Yeah, tell me.
The last 2 steps are required, 172 and
Oh,
173.
that's what I explained, right? I clearly mentioned, if you want to create the new profile class, you create, or else go to existing profile class, you enable the balance for billing, set billing at customer level, customer account level or site level, billing you require detail or summary, you select and select the balance for billing payment term. For existing also you can do it. It's not mandatory how to create. Okay.
Okay.
Already you have a customer profile class that you want to convert into balance for billing profile class. Yes, you convert. Just go and enable the checkbox and provide the billing cycle included payment term. That is okay. You don't need to
Okay.
create customer also. Go to existing customer. Okay.
Change the profile class.
Assign the profile class what you created or what you updated.
Okay.
These two you can just existing you can modify also. Since it won't take much time, just we create.
No, the reason why I asked was like in while creating a transaction, you are selecting 171, right? Payment terms which we created as part of create BFB payment terms case.
When we create the transaction, what I selected?
Payment terms, the
I
new
didn't select
payment
any
terms.
payment term. System is taking from the customer.
Okay.
I didn't select.
Can we? Okay. Can we override these payment terms here instead of
Yeah,
setting up a?
you can override. Okay, you can override again. That should be balance for billing payment term.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because customer level balance for billing is enabled, right?
Yes.
That is the reason cycle. You may use that or you may change, but within that billing cycle should be there. That payment term only you have to select. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't work. System doesn't support. Yeah.
Oh.
Sir, this transaction date, can it be different or it has to be the same date?
Yeah, whenever those happens, is the same date. Say today one transaction, tomorrow one transaction, day after tomorrow one transaction. You are doing the billing on 20th.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I
that's
mean, if we are taking like right now, we in the two transactions, we take 14th only, but if we take 9th or like, let's say 11th, then also the bill will
yeah,
generate
you
on.
can take it. You can take it. System will look at a billing date.
Okay, okay, understood.
Okay, from that date only, it will calculate the due dates.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, fine. We don't have much time. Takes time. Just we'll submit. This is also not okay. 7:25. Okay, the other topics this we will take in the tomorrow session. Again, it takes time, like we have to discuss and we have to execute templates. Okay. So we're done for today. If any questions, please.